Hello to people interested in inventory control. Dang, that might be a small population. But anyway, let me go on. The most commonly used means of managing inventory is the tried and true max-min system. You may be wondering what that has to do with the tagline, the inherent perils of forecasting demand. This is one of a series of videos I made to try to get people to rethink approaches that are both common and damaging. Let me see if I can substantiate my claim that max-min is in fact just another form of forecasting. Here's good old Skew A, which is held in inventory at some location called X. The reason for the inventory is to meet internal or external demand at that location. The company doesn't want to either delay production or miss sales. Either one would disappoint their customers, and so they adopted max-min years ago and nobody's ever thought about it again. It works, right? So why change? Well, here's some data about Skew A. It takes 4 weeks to get more, and consumption averages 15 per month. Back when purchasing first set this item up, they had to decide how much to order, the difference between the maximum and the minimum inventory levels. If you haven't noticed that, once you get to the min, you order up to the max, so the order quantity is the difference between the max and min. They discovered that a reasonable balance between too much workload, which of course they couldn't handle, and too much inventory, which of course they can handle, could be struck by ordering every 2 months. Therefore, they made their order quantity 30 units, or 2 months worth. In other words, they used a forecast to extrapolate an order quantity. Next, they had to decide the min, the reorder point. Again, from experience, they knew that demand varies, which means that it's often higher than the average consumption for the 4 weeks, which was 14 units in this case. They felt more comfortable doubling that figure. There is a second forecast that giving a supplier 8 weeks is a safe minimum, and being ready to double the usual demand is also safe. It almost never happens that demand goes up like crazy, and at the same time the supplier gets slow. So doubling the 14 per 4 weeks is good enough. Adding the two gives a max of 58. Let's see what that looks like on a chart. Same data we had on the last slide, just as a reminder. Looking at an arbitrary period of time starting at the first of the year, the green line represents the maximum and the orange line is the minimum. The dark blue line shows the on-hand inventory over time. You can see that it fluctuates between 11 units and 45 units. Look at how nicely everything works. Even in August, when the supplier is over a week late, you'd have to say the inventory is under control. Furthermore, since purchasing only has to cut 6 purchase orders a year, it preserves their time for dealing with problems that Murphy guarantees will crop up. But what if there was an automated system that didn't sweat looking at all the products every day? Wouldn't that give purchasing even more time? What could they do with more time? How about negotiate lower prices, improve quality, and find better suppliers? Ooh, now that's starting to sound good. What were the assumptions that went into choosing the max and the min levels? Let me remind you. First, accepting more on-hand inventory to protect purchasing time, and 2, using a forecast to have enough to keep from running out, even though the ordering was infrequent. Now, neither remains pertinent if the system easily did all the work. This is what happens with our exclusive Elucidate software. We always have product coming in, and that inbound flow covers the outbound flow. Occasionally, due to fluctuations in demand and supply, the on-hand inventory dips in the red danger zone, or the green too much investment area. But mostly it fluctuates in the yellow zone, which is just about right. So Lucid watches every skew, every day, in every location, to see if on-hand has been too much in the red or green zones, and raises or shrinks the size of the buffer respectively. So now you have an approach that uses artificial intelligence to not only save your people from drudgery, but to also constantly adapt to changes before damage occurs. Of course, you know what type of damage I mean because you have shortages all too frequently. After the customer gets let down, what does purchasing say when you ask them? The supplier was too slow, or demand picked up unexpectedly. Either results in higher max bins and even more inventory. By the way, neither model ever gets close to running out, but our way cuts the average investment from 29 units to 11. That's over a 60% reduction in the case of Skew A. Multiply the savings times thousands of products to make it impressive. How would you like to drop your inventory in half and have all that cash flood back into your checking account? We've all gone to the supermarket and found them out of something on our list. Has the shoe store ever been sold out of the one style you wanted to buy, even though your foot size is normal? Major equipment orders can be held up by the smallest essential raw material being out of stock. Forecasting constantly lets us down, no matter what type of business you're in. Now for the big question. Can you let it go? What's your answer? Do you believe in fortune tellers? Will you bet your money on your horoscope? I can hear you answering, of course not. What are you thinking? But when you're forecasting, aren't you doing the same thing? How about you moving to that inventory buffering thing? We did it 17 years ago. We've become true experts. What if you didn't have to learn anything new and you just got the results? Our alternative is a new service that we call Supply Stream. And shh, don't tell anybody because most people don't know about it. And if they don't know about it, that means that this is a competitive edge for you. If you're curious at all, email us at supply_stream@ssco.pro. We'll get right back to you. To learn more on the sly, go to our website, neverrunout.com. Check it out. Let us help you make some real money and your life easier at the same time. It'll make you the hero.